All right, welcome back, fellow music enthusiasts.
Hello.
If you're listening to this, we have previously been discussing the saga of Kendrick Lamar versus Drake, just as everybody else has.
Right.
It's the biggest thing happening, so why not?
Yeah.
Let's talk about this because there's pretty crazy developments in the music world since we last recorded, which was right after Euphoria and
hmm
Push Ups and Taylor Made Freestyle and that whole era. And there's so much more going on now. Officially, as of today, Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar has gone number one on the Billboard charts. Meet the Grams, I believe, is third, and or Euphoria. I think all three of those are in the top 10, as well as Family Matters by Drake is in the top 10.
Yep.
So just crazy. Everybody is giving their 2 cents on what's going on. Drake enthusiasts are being delusional. Kendrick enthusiasts are being delusional. Everybody's going crazy.
Yeah.
So let's break this down. We wanted to rank these. Are there eight total that we're including? I included
Yeah.
just eight of them because I
Right.
don't count first person shooter or like that as diss tracks. They're
Right.
just good songs.
Yeah.
They're
I'm with you.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're not gonna take those little 2 line shots out of a 60 line song and call it a diss track.
Right.
Um, why don't I have again another soapbox to be on? Not as much as the last episode, but why don't you go first so that I can explain
Okay.
my thought
Yeah.
process?
So how we'll also go through because we have discussed up to Euphoria and push-ups. We'll once we get down to songs like Meet the Grams, They Not Like Us and Family Matters, we'll kind of put our input with the ranking. So, um, I'm gonna go from worst to best. Starting off, the absolute worst one, and in my opinion, there's only two diss songs that were, in my opinion, considered just straight up bad. Like they weren't good and they suck all the way around. The first one is Taylor Made Freestyle. I thought that it was super corny that he wanted to use AI Snoop and Pac to come at Kendrick. I thought that was super lame and super stupid.
Yeah,
Um, Not much else to be said about that one. I just hate it. Um, the next one, so at number 7, I have The Heart Part 6. It it was just basically a song of nuh-uh, I, that's not me. I didn't do that. I'm not attracted to Millie Bobby Brown. Like
yeah,
okay. The only thing that I thought was clever about this one was the title. Like and I was
yeah.
really hoping it was going to be something crazy because he used Kendrick's title. Um but it wasn't. It sucked. It was a waste of my time and I feel like that's where Kendrick was like, "Yeah, I don't have to respond anymore. Like I've made my point and this is trash. I won." Um just a terrible song. Then I have after that they're at least decent. Like whether it's the actual disses or it's playable or the beat, like there was a lot to have to consider in this ranking. But next I have 616 in LA. It's a lot more forgettable. I did just listen to it like before the podcast because I had to remind myself what it even was. I do think that there are some pretty interesting lines in this one. One that caught my attention where things are getting brought up now. Um, it says it was fun till you start to put money up in the streets, then lost money because they came back with no receipts. So it just came out that Drake did hire somebody to get receipts on Kendrick. And then that dude gave Drake false information and came out saying like, no, I'm on Kendrick's side. Like you're an idiot. Waste of like it was either 100 or 150 grand that Drake paid. So I saw that I was like, oh crap, that's kind of crazy now. Um, but it's just super forgettable in the grand scheme of things. After that I have push-ups. It was a good way to start. It was super catchy. It's a solid Drake song. I don't really have any problems with this one, minus like what we said in that previous episode. At times, I think it's pretty corny, but what else do I expect from Drake? Other times, he pops off, and not only that, but he has a list of people that he is popping off on. Um, After that, we're in the top four now. This one was a toss up. I could have, it was really close, but then I have Family Ties. um, I think there were a couple more corny lines from Drake that he just brought back from push-ups and um that one song with SZA where it's like hands on your knees. Hey, like I'm over it.
Yeah.
Um this would have been higher if he kept it straight at Kendrick, but for some reason he wants to pop off on like Rick Ross, ASAP Rocky in this one. He's still calling out Metro and The Weeknd. So it's like, why are you giving them your attention? Like at this point, the only one that's trolling you out of those people are Rick Ross, but who cares about him these days? And Metro. He's literally just trolling you at this point with BBL Drizzy. Um, so just like focus on Kendrick, or else, I mean, it's over. But like, you know, you done messed up. You should have just stuck to Kendrick.
Right.
Nonetheless, I think that the beat switch ups were phenomenal. I like the different flows that he decides to use without the track. With what did I just say? I said without the track. That's not the right sentence. Um, throughout, that's the right word. Throughout the track.
Yeah, yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Um, I thought it was funny that he brought the van from what is it, Good Kid, Mad
Good Kid,
City.
Mad City.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Bro, people dove way too deep into it. Like they're like, "Oh, it's not the exact same van. It's actually this kind of a van." And I was like, "Dude, that's not the point. It's
Yeah.
representation. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
It's not that deep. Let's calm down." So I thought some of those shots were solid, were decent. Then after that, this is where it was I was going back and forth, but at number three, I have Meet the Grams. And like I said, I had to think about everything that you can categorize with these songs, not just how good are the disses, but is the production really good? Does it have replay value? This, and that. Um, the only downside to Meet the Grams, in my opinion, for a diss track is the replay value. Dude, it's just way too ominous and like very scary.
Yeah.
And it's it still blows my mind that he starts off by saying Dear Adonis.
Yeah.
I'll never get over that. Did I download the song though? Absolutely I did. Because every once in a while I just wanted to like spook me just out of nowhere and just like
You really are
come
into
back.
hearing one guy call another guy a pedophile.
No, okay, look, it's not that. It's not that.
You love when people get exposed for having kids that they don't father.
No, it's not that. It's I don't know how to explain it because when we were texting, um, and you were saying like I don't need to be hearing 40-year-old grown men talking about these obscure things. And I spent like a good 20 minutes trying to think of a way on how to say that I don't know because I enjoy listening to it without sounding like I like listening to them talk about being pedophiles and wife beaters. Like,
Yeah.
And so my final response came out to a yeah and laughing emoji. I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain it, but I don't know. I think with that one, it was just such a shock that like the direction that he took, nobody was expecting that. Like
Hmm.
he took it to a very personal level. I didn't know who the Grams were. I didn't know that was Drake's actual name. Um, so after this entire song, like I found out that his last name's Graham, and then it like even
Yeah.
it blew my mind even more. I don't know why, but it did. Um, yeah, nah, it's absolutely just diabolical to not only Dear Adonis, but call out Sandra by first name, Dennis by first name, like saying that I
Yeah.
think people like him should die, not just once, but twice.
Yeah.
Um, it
It's pretty crazy.
oh, absolutely. The production is phenomenal though. It's yeah, I'm for the production.
Yeah.
Um anyways, so that's at number 3. At number 2, I have Euphoria. I think the replay value on this one is a lot higher than most the other ones. I think really the only one for Drake is, in my opinion, is Push Ups. That's a song that I would like listen to. But and I hear you still about the whole it's real child's play to be like, I hate the way that you talk, the way that you dress, all that.
Yeah.
But I so hold on, let me think real quick. There have already been moments after that song where it's just so relatable now. Like there have been
I mean, if you enjoy middle school insults and feel that way about other people,
look
then yeah.
look now my brother had a volleyball game and it got rigged by the refs, and so every time that every time the ref would make a call, I was with Ty, we would start playing just that section. Ridiculous, I understand, but comedy at the same time. We were enjoying ourselves. Um, my favorite track is easily Not Like Us, or They Not Like Us. And I am not afraid to say that I listen to that song quite a bit. It's
It's good.
it's up there for me. The Mustard killed that beat. I didn't think Kendrick was gonna make something so jumpy and catchy, and then like right in the middle, it hold on. It makes me a little uncomfortable when he starts giving me a history lesson, because then I feel really out of place like saying any of those lyrics, and but then it gets back on track, and then I can start dancing to it again and
Yeah.
having a good time. Um Overall, I think after this entire thing, it's it comes down to who has receipts, I guess, but like nobody's really saying anything, so it just kind of seemed like a little bit of a waste of time,
Right.
because like all we really got was, don't get me wrong, we had Kendrick drop a bajillion times in 2
Like three
weeks,
days.
right?
Yeah.
Like that's hooray, right? We get more Kendrick. Everybody was wanting more Kendrick.
Yeah.
Um, but at the end of the day, like if you just look at it for what it is, it's just like you do, like you said, it's just two grown men yelling at each other for being equally terrible people.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
I don't know about equal.
yeah,
Like
okay, yeah, maybe not equally,
both,
but
yeah,
they're
but like both
terrible in
imprisonable
right.
level offenses.
Yeah, no, 100%. Um, are some of the lines like creative and witty and
Yeah.
all of the above? Absolutely. Is this a great moment in hip hop when it comes to diss tracks? Absolutely. Do we need gunshots and violence and Drake leaving the states? I don't know if you heard about that, but
Yeah.
yeah. Like that's all a little much.
Yeah.
But you know, that's how I
Yeah,
feel. I
it's the
just
situation we're in now.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just
Um
it all died down very quickly too. Like
I don't think, I mean, to be honest, I don't think we've heard the last of everything.
right.
I think we've heard the bulk of it. I think what my assumption would be is that we'll probably get what we've been getting the last 10 years from the both of them, which is kind of some subliminals at each other
A couple
here and
strays.
there.
Well,
Yeah. Um, and I'll echo your final thought and relate to something I sent you, which was
mhm.
from the rapper Black Thought, um, who was kind of saying like, in a way, saying things have kind of gone too far unless you have receipts, or even if you do have receipts. I don't know where he would draw the line. I would say if you don't have receipts, it's kind of gone a little far, because what Black Thought, the rapper, said in his post was basically saying, in the name of clout and of besting each other, they've kind of stooped down to a level of pulling innocent people into the crossfire, whether that's family members or whatever. Like, Kendrick's kids don't need to be brought into it. Drake's son doesn't need to get brought into it. His mom, Kendrick's wife, like, those people don't need to get brought into it unless you're talking about actual things.
Right.
And I mostly agree with what he said, was that um, in the olden times, or not olden times, but in the past, um, not always, because like if you look at Tupac and Biggie, or Tupac and whomever, or there's some cheap shots thrown around. But I will say, a beef that I brought up with you, as an example of what this point is, was Eminem and MGK, and what he's saying is that it used to be about skill. Like, I'm going to outskill you and show you how bad of a rapper you are, and that's what the attacks were
Yeah.
essentially. And MGK could have gotten so much like brought up and thrown at him for like shady, questionable times in his interview history. And Eminem was just like, no, you're garbage. And like, I don't need to say any more than that, pretty much.
Yeah.
Um, I will say it's a little more challenging if you're talking about two of the biggest guys right now, because obviously it's more challenging to say one's trash and one's not. But anyways, I'll digress and go into my list here. So the bottom, I have two lists, and I'll explain as I go. But the bottom three are the same on both of them. In eighth, I do have Tailor Made Freestyle. It was so not needed to drop. Like, I get what he was trying to do, and I still admire the angle he took of trying to like, I kind of look at it as like the 8 Mile rap battle thing. Like, I already know what shots you're going to take at me. You can't really say anything all that original.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just kind of fails miserably. It's not really, you know, impressive, or it doesn't stand out at all. And there's just some weird aspects, like using AI to cover other people's voices. And anyways, you hit on a lot of points that I'll agree with. My seventh, I have 616 in LA in seventh. Um, and like you said, it is pretty forgettable. But the reason I have it a little bit lower than you do is just that it feels like 70% of it isn't even a diss track at Drake. It's
Mhm.
like 70% of it is just kind of talking about whatever. And like, I mean, I don't know. In listening to it, it doesn't really feel super like the attack that Euphoria was, or that Meet the Grams were, as they come one before and one after it.
Mhm.
And then I have the Heart Part Six. I'll agree, it's a lot of just like lame. Nuh-uh, I didn't do that. Um, I do think an underappreciated part of this song that I will still stand by is that he basically says, I've said a lot about you that you haven't said anything about. You keep
That's
trying to like
yeah.
come at me and keep saying the stuff about me, but I've said a lot of things about you that you're not willing to address. And he kind of takes this stance of like, I get why you're not willing to address it, because Drake's implying that it's true, and that's why he's not willing to address it. So as an attack angle, I understand that, but I will agree with you. I think the song has a lot of flaws. Um, I don't know if I want to like break that one down a lot because a lot of people have been talking about it and like pulling apart the Millie Bobby Brown line, like, oh, Kendrick didn't even mention her. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but we all knew who he's talking about. Like, there's two instances that are public knowledge of Drake, and that's like the biggest one that everyone knows about.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, we're not idiots. we know that that's part of what he's referring to.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing, what was the other thing in the Heart Part Six? I don't know. If I remember it and if it's important, I'll bring it back up. But um, I kind of have a real list, like as it currently stands in my mind, of how I view these things, and then I have a list of like if what they said is true, which tracks are the best.
Mm.
So I'll go through if what they said it happens to be true because that's kind of what everyone's taking it as right now. Um, and so in fifth there I have push-ups.
Mm.
Um, it's a solid Drake song. There it has its flaws that we've talked about in our last episode. Um, in fourth I have Euphoria. Again, we've talked about it. I think it has a lot of good stuff, but it also has a lot of not a lot. It has a couple of things that I have gripes with, and I'll stand by it. I think this beef has completely ruined my perception of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers
Yeah.
and this whole thing of Kendrick as this like so mature, conscious rapper. Because I don't know, you got to
Right.
practice what you preach in my book. Like you're a year removed from saying 1,855 days you've been going through some stuff, and you proceed to give us this hour and a half lecture of like all your life lessons, and then you just backtrack it over like a span of 4 days. To me, that doesn't like sit right with me. That's maybe just a me thing, but anyways, in third, I have if everything like is true as it stands, Family Matters. Some pretty treacherous shots taken at
Yeah.
Kendrick primarily, but again, like you're saying, some other people are drawn into the crossfires as well. And like some stuff that I kind of alluded to as like Kendrick kind of never admits to this stuff, but like it kind of sounds like crazy stuff could be happening,
Yeah.
during this time that Kendrick's talking about. Um, oh, Heart Part Six. I just remembered. He talks about Mother I Sober off of Mr. Morale and like says, "Oh, I get it. Like you're projecting these things onto me because they actually happened to you." And everyone's like, "Dude, you didn't get the point of Mother I Sober." And I don't think Drake's stupid. I think Drake gets the point. I think the point that Drake is making is like, I don't agree with Drake's point. I think he's in the wrong. But he's mostly just using it as a bully tactic, like saying, you have all of this trauma that you've just given us, and you're projecting that onto me now.
Mm.
And so I don't think the point of what Drake is saying is to say like literally,
Yeah.
that's just me. But I think it's pretty low and stupid to use something that someone was being vulnerable about to like shove it back in their face.
Yeah.
Anyways, Family Matters, some good shots taken. Overall, really good song. I really enjoyed how a really good diss track, I'll say. I really enjoyed how Drake brought different energy at different points in the song. You're right, the van thing is kind of funny. I will agree with that. Second, if everything is accurate as it stands, I have Not Like Us. It's super catchy. The mustard beat is crazy. I will say I'm very disappointed that Kendrick finally brought some energy to such a crazy beat for something that I will never listen to again. Um, and again, it's just a me thing. Like I don't
Yeah.
really want to hear one dude call another dude out for
Yeah.
being a weirdo and call the other guy out for beating his wife. That's just not like what I want to hear in my music. So,
Right.
um, but it's super catchy. I do think he again takes some pretty good shots on this one too. It's not even like he's just making it catchy. There's some solid disses at him, particularly talking about how Kendrick says or Drake says Kendrick raps still like he's trying to free the slaves, and then Kendrick kind of uses that to be like, you're still using this culture for your own benefit, just like they used to do in this area. Kind of like throwing that back in Drake's face, I thought was pretty witty. And if everything is true, I think Meet the Grams has to be one of the best diss tracks of all time. If you're really revealing stuff that's like life imprisonable offenses, and that he's lied about another kid being his, if all that's true, that's insane. And that's like, again, imprisonable. Like,
Yeah.
get him out of here. And it is super ominous, super dark, super I don't know what the right word for it is, but just like he's it's so angry and like fiery, and yet it's so cool and calm, and that's like frightening.
Yeah.
Now, as things are in my mind, which is that nobody's proven anything, and that like, if you're not going to prove these things, that's a stupid shot to take at each other, kind of thing. In fifth, I have Meet the Grams, because the whole premise of the song is like, let me expose you for this fraud. And if none of those things are true, and if he can't really have anything to back that up, again, it's better than these other three. It's still like some crazy shots, but it's not nearly what it is if it's all true.
Right.
In fourth, I have Family Matters, because, again, some pretty serious shots taken at Kendrick, but nothing compared to but wait. Whoa, sorry. If it's not true, it's still a good song. There's still a lot of things that are relevant. There's still a lot that he brings up that's like, just this, that, and the other. The energy on it's great. In third, I have Not Like Us, because while it doesn't take a ton of crazy shots, and it does talk about a lot of stuff that I see as pending, that like, is it true or not? It's super catchy. I love the fact that he's like hearing this internet noise of people being like, Drake gives me something to dance to, and Kendrick just is, this, that, and the other, and I don't want to have to listen to something that I have to dissect every word all the time. And Kendrick's like, dude, I'm this guy. I can put this out anytime I want. I could literally give you a diss track. Again, like, not a song that people would want to listen to the writing of, and make you all like enjoy it, be a club song, play at pro sports games, all of this kind of stuff. I think that's ingenious. I praise him for that angle, because that was really all Drake fans had to fall back on, is like, Drake makes me dance. Drake's fun time music. I'm going to listen to Drake. I'm not going to listen to Kendrick.
Yep.
And so Kendrick just putting that out is insane.
Yeah.
Number two, though, for me is Push Ups, because it is not, there's nothing in it that relies on it being true, really. Like, it's just good shots. It's just intense, fiery, passionate, all those things. And number one is Euphoria, for me, because, again, there's not a whole lot in there that you have to like prove to be true. Everything that's in there is either stuff we already know about Drake, or is just like, kind of like I was saying earlier, shots saying, I'm just a better rapper than you. You're, not what you think you are, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. That's maybe I'm stupid and trying to be, I don't know, whatever, because I have two lists and see it the way I see it. But again, I'll reiterate, I think it's cool for the sport of hip hop to have two people that are so big go at it with each other. I will say one thing with Meet the Grams I disagree with is Kendrick said, why'd you make it personal, Aubrey? We were just having this fun brotherly competition, and
Yeah.
you had to make it all serious. And I was like, hold on, dude. Aren't you the guy that's been taking shots at him for the last 10 years? And he's always been like, I feel like he's trying to bait me into something to be in a beef with him. Like, I don't have anything against him. aren't you the same guy, Kendrick, who started all of this nonsense on like that? And aren't you the same guy that threw all of Drake's dirty laundry out in everyone's face on Euphoria, even if we already knew it? Drake was talking about your shoe size, and now you're talking about like lawsuits against him. That's not the same thing. Um, anyways, that's my little rant for the episode today. But
Yeah. No, I
yeah,
I agree. I think that was like the biggest flaw that I saw in that one. Es- Also him saying like, Drake, I don't actually have a hating bone in my body. And then I'm like, not only like a minute ago did you want him to die not once but twice, but in the song before, you broke down every fiber of this human being that you hate. I think it's dumb. It's definitely the biggest hole I've seen in a while within a song. But I at this point I just laugh about it because it's
yeah,
like, no, you're lying. You hate
yeah.
this. You hate him so very much.
Right, right.
Yeah, but
Yeah, no, and I'll agree with consensus. I think Kendrick has kind of handled this and won this pretty handily. Um, regardless of whether it's true or not. If it's not true, I still think in the parts that Kendrick's done, aside from like revealing stuff about him,
yeah,
is better than what Drake's done. But
I agree.
yeah, I
Hey,
think
I think I think the best thing that came out of this, minus like obviously the heavy duty like call outs, is they not like us. Kind of like what you were saying, just because of how bouncy the track is and how playable the song is. And I mean that more so because a lot of people these days will just turn on music. They don't actually
right,
hear what they're listening to and think
right,
to this themselves like, what am I listening to right now? No, they just, listen to it, especially
right,
if it has a
right.
good instrumental.
Yeah,
Um, so I totally agree. I think that Kendrick being able to shut up all of the Drake stands with, okay, well, what about this? And it being number one, not only in
yeah,
like America, but it hit like number one in Canada's Spotify top 10, and like
yeah,
it's, yeah, that it's just crazy what that one song did
for sure.
number wise.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree 100%. I think instrumentally and energy wise, vocal performance wise, it's awesome. It's super impressive. I love that Kendrick kind of just came with this attitude of like, I can do this anytime I want kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like it didn't take people digging up the archives to pull out like, no, Kendrick's got bangers in his catalog. He's just like, you guys don't think I can do this? Next song, literally next song, anytime I want. So I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Again, like for me, the replayability of stuff just comes back to lyrically. Um, just it's just not like content that I'm gonna enjoy listening to all that much,
Yeah.
especially when I hear it every time I open social media. So
Yeah. No, that's valid.
you know, I get my fix of it that way. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. The only thing that I hope moving forward now that it has, I'm gonna say that it's officially over or died down in the terms of
yeah,
back and forth diss tracks. What I hope now is that, let's hope for like a Kendrick album that doesn't come back to this. And then same thing for Drake. When Drake drops his next, it's over. It's
yeah,
done. The dust has settled,
I
and
agree.
everyone's dead right now. Uh, so I hope that they both bring this kind of energy, like not this hateful, but I like they showed that they can both spit. Drake's still showing, his melodic side, but like you said, Kendrick showing that he can drop bouncy bangers like
Yeah,
whenever he wants. I hope we get to see more of that from both of them moving forward whenever they release.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Just to conclude the episode here, I will say the worst part of maybe all of this, aside from the AI, was that blasted Heart Part Six outro. Though it's real good to get the pen out and working again. Dude, shut up! Just end the song. Like, what are we
Bro,
doing here?
he sounds exhausted. He
Yeah.
sounds so over it. It's
And that's the
comedy.
worst part about it is it's like you made yourself sound like you're beat up now. Now we all think you're like you can't handle these shots and there's
Yeah.
something to it.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that's all I've got to say on the
Yeah.
subject. I'll agree with a lot of what you said.
Yeah. And I'll
Well,
do the same.
if you're listening to us here, drop us a comment. Let us know who you think won, and if I'm crazy for not always wanting to come back and listen to not like us, like everybody else is right now. And we'll see you all next week.
Adios.